Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the American Academy of Research and Academics podcast. If you're just dipping your toes into the world of research and considering your very first research topic, this episode has got you covered. We'll be diving into everything from picking your first research topic to successfully presenting your work at conferences. Think of this episode as your step-by-step guide to navigate the research journey, from that initial spark of curiosity to the joy of seeing your name in print in a scientific journal. We'll be sharing actionable tips, tools, and strategies to help you avoid common pitfalls, make the right choices, and stand out as a budding researcher. Let's get started. Sounds like a lot? Don't worry, I'm here to make it simple and actionable. Grab a cup of coffee or tea, settle in, and let's get started. Alright, let's dive into the first big challenge, picking your first research topic. I know it sounds intimidating. Trust me, we've all been there, staring at a blank page, wondering, where do I even begin? The good news? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Your first research topic doesn't have to change the world. But it should be something you care about and something doable. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1. Start with your interests. The best research comes from curiosity. Ask yourself, what excites me in medicine? Is it cardiology, oncology, infectious diseases? Or maybe health systems and public health? For example, when I was starting out, I was really interested in infectious diseases. It was something I saw during my rotations, and I thought, there's so much more to learn here. So, take a moment to reflect. Your research will take time, and picking something that truly interests you will make the process so much more rewarding. Step 2. Narrow it down. Once you have a broad idea, it's time to narrow it down. Let's say you're interested in cardiology, that's great, but it's a massive field. So, ask yourself some guiding questions. What specific problems do I want to explore? Are there gaps in the current knowledge? What has clinical relevance? Here's an example. Instead of researching heart disease, maybe focus on early detection of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy in young adults. It's focused, it's actionable, and it has a clear direction. Step 3. Talk to mentors and seniors. Now, this is where mentors come in. Don't hesitate to reach out to professors, residents, or even fellow medical students who have done research. Here's a tip. Start with someone approachable. A professor in your department might already have ongoing projects, and they might say, hey, why don't you help me on this? Boom, your first research topic. Mentors are invaluable because they know what's feasible for someone starting out. Step 4. Look for existing research. Before you finalize your topic, look at what's already out there. PubMed, Google Scholar, and ResearchGate are your friends here. Let's say you're curious about telemedicine and diabetes management, do a quick search and see what's been done. If there's a gap or something that could be explored further, congratulations, you found your niche. Step 5. Start small and feasible. And lastly, keep it realistic. Your first project doesn't need to be a multi-year study with 500 patients. It could be a simple retrospective study, a case series, or even a systematic review. The goal here is to learn the process of research, not to win a Nobel Prize right away. Remember, your first research is your foundation, and every great researcher started with something small. Quick recap. Start with your interests. Narrow it down to something specific. Talk to mentors and seniors. Check existing research for gaps. Pick something small and realistic. Alright, now that you have an idea of how to pick your first research topic, let's move to the next section. Building your research career from the ground up. Once you've dipped your toes into research, you might start asking yourself, how do I grow from here? How do I build a research career step by step? Whether you want to specialize in clinical practice, academia, or combine both, research will always play a key role. Here's how you can strategically build your research career. Step 1. Start building a research portfolio. A research portfolio is your resume in the research world. It includes the projects you've worked on, the skills you've gained, like data analysis, manuscript writing, presentations, posters, and published papers. The earlier you start documenting your work, the better. Even if your first project is small, it still counts. Step 2. Collaborate on different projects. One of the best ways to grow is to collaborate. Once you've worked on your first research, branch out. Join your classmates, senior researchers, or even interdisciplinary teams. Let's say you worked on a cardiology project. Next, maybe try collaborating with someone working in public health or endocrinology. This gives you a broader perspective and makes you a versatile researcher. Step 3. Learn key research skills. Building a research career means learning specific skills like how to do a literature review, how to analyze data using tools like SPSS, R, or Excel, how to write a manuscript, and how to present your research. Trust me, the more skills you learn, the more opportunities you'll attract. Step 4. Build relationships in the research community. Research isn't just about what you know, it's also about who you know. Attend conferences, workshops, and seminars. Build relationships with mentors, peers, and even reviewers. You never know, a casual conversation at a conference might lead to your next big project. Step 5. Stay consistent and curious. Lastly, research is a marathon, not a sprint. Some projects will fail, some papers will get rejected, and that's okay. Stay curious, keep learning, and keep showing up. Every successful researcher you admire today, they didn't give up. Neither will you. Quick recap. Build your research portfolio. Collaborate on different projects. Learn key research skills. Build relationships in the research community. Stay consistent and curious. In this section, we're going to discuss one of the most crucial and often intimidating aspects of research, publishing your paper. We'll walk through every step, from writing your manuscript to finally seeing that acceptance email in your inbox. I promise, it's a journey that can be challenging but also incredibly rewarding. I know what you might be thinking, publishing a research paper sounds overwhelming. But don't worry, whether you're a first-timer or someone who's been through this process before, I'm here to break it down for you in simple, actionable steps. Let's get started. Step 1. Preparing to write your manuscript. Before you even start typing, there's some groundwork to be done. Think of it like prepping for a long road trip. You need your maps, your supplies, and a clear destination. The first thing you need is a clear vision for your manuscript. Ask yourself, what is the main message of my research? Who is the audience for this paper? Which journal should I target? These questions will help you stay focused and ensure you're writing with purpose. Choosing the right journal. Picking the right journal is a critical step. Different journals have different scopes, audiences, and requirements. You don't want to write a brilliant paper only to have it rejected because it wasn't the right fit. Here's how to choose. Start by looking at the journals that published papers similar to yours. For example, if your research is on infectious diseases, journals like Clinical Infectious Diseases or the Lancet Infectious Diseases might be good choices. Check the journal's impact factor, this tells you how widely it's read and cited. But don't get too obsessed with impact factor. High-quality work can shine anywhere. Look at the journal's aims and scope section. Make sure your topic aligns with what they're looking for. Consider open access journals. They're widely available, which increases your visibility, but they often come with publication fees. Once you've picked your journal, carefully read their submission guidelines. Trust me, journals have very specific formats and rules, and following them makes the review process much smoother. Organizing your data. Before you start writing, make sure all your data is organized and ready. Review your results and decide which data is most relevant for your story. Think of your research like a plotline. Your introduction is the setup, the results are the climax, and the discussion ties everything together neatly. Here's a pro tip: create figures and tables early on. They often become the backbone of your results section and help you visualize your findings clearly. Also, make sure your data is complete and well structured. Missing pieces or inconsistencies will come back to haunt you during peer review. Step 2. Writing the manuscript. Alright, now that your journal is picked and your data is organized, it's time to write. A manuscript might seem like a mountain, but we'll climb it one section at a time. Let's break it down into manageable parts. Let's start with the title. Your title needs to be clear, concise, and informative. It's the first thing readers and reviewers will see, so make it count. Include the main focus of your research. Avoid jargon unless it's absolutely necessary. Keep it within 10 to 15 words. For example, instead of a vague title like, "A Study on Diabetes," go for something specific: "Effective Telemedicine on Glycemic Control in Patients with Type 2 Diabetes." Next up, the abstract. Think of your abstract as the trailer to your paper. It should give readers a summary of what to expect. Most journals allow about 250 words, so keep it short and punchy. It should include: why is this study important? What did you aim to find? How did you conduct your study? What did you discover? What does it mean, and why should people care? Your abstract might be the only part some readers see, so make sure it's compelling and clear. The introduction sets the stage for your research. Start by answering 3 key questions. What's the problem? Introduce the topic and why it matters. For example, despite advances in treatment, heart failure remains a leading cause of morbidity and mortality worldwide. What's been done? Briefly summarize previous research to show what's already known. What's your contribution? Clearly state your research question and objective. For instance, this study aims to evaluate the role of biomarkers in predicting heart failure outcomes. Keep the introduction concise, usually 3 to 4 paragraphs. Your goal is to engage the reader and lead them seamlessly into the methods section. The methods section is where you explain how you conducted your study. This part needs to be detailed and precise so others can replicate your work. Here's what to include. Study design: was it a randomized controlled trial, a retrospective cohort, or a case study? Participants: who were your subjects? Include inclusion and exclusion criteria. Procedures: describe what you did step by step. Statistical analysis: which tools and methods did you use? For example, data were analyzed using SPSS software version 25, and p-values less than 0.05 were considered statistically significant. Pro tip: use subheadings to keep this section organized. It'll make it easier for readers to follow. Here's where you present your findings. The key is to let your data tell the story. Use tables, graphs, and figures to highlight the most important results. Start with descriptive statistics, like demographics. Move on to your primary outcomes. Be objective and factual, don't interpret the results yet, that comes in the discussion. Make sure everything is clear and easy to follow. Your readers should be able to understand the results without flipping back and forth. The discussion is your chance to shine. Here, you interpret your results, explain what they mean, and put them in context. Follow this structure. Compare with existing research. Do your results align with or differ from previous studies? Explain the implications. Why do your findings matter for clinical practice or future research? Acknowledge limitations. Be honest about the weaknesses of your study. Conclude with a takeaway message. In conclusion, telemedicine offers a promising approach to diabetes management. Keep the discussion focused and avoid overstating your findings. Finally, list all your references using the format required by your target journal. Tools like EndNote, Zotero, and Mendeley can make this step so much easier.